Plaintiff Alexandria Austin was best friends with the defendant until she became suspicious of the defendant's relationship with her child's father. Alexandria says the defendant moved out of their apartment before the lease expired, so she's suing for unpaid rent. Defendant Alana Jennings insists she was never intimate with Alexandria's boyfriend. Alana admits that she moved out without notice, but insists it was because Alexandria's boyfriend was always at the apartment.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, me and Alana used to be the bestest friends until she let my child's father come in between us. I don't understand why, because they knew each other before me and him knew each other. Me and her been friends since middle school, but she knew him before me. One day, me and my child's father was laying in the bed, and he looked over me and said, "I got something to tell you." I was like, "What you got to tell me?" He was like, "Me and Alana has fooled around in your car."
That is not true. When you never told me he told you that.
Yes, I did tell you that, and you went off. Anyways, like I was saying, in April, he told me that he was like, they fooled around in my car, but it was an April Fool's joke. Because I jumped on him and he told me it was an April Fool's joke. I did call Alana and I asked Alana about it, and you snapped because you said, "Why would you even ask me? You know how I am." Okay, I didn't ask her because I know how Alana is. I know she wouldn't do nothing like that, but it's just, why would you just come out? I could see if he said a spider was on my head or you got a roach right there crawling, but something like that, like I did ask her and she know I asked her and she said it wasn't true. I believed her. I'm not gonna lie, I did believe her. Okay, as time went by, whatever, they always would fuss. They always was fussing. I don't know the reason, because before that.
Did you ever ask
I asked her, she said because he's two-faced.
No, him.
No, I asked, he don't know.
He doesn't know he was fussing?
No, he don't. When I asked him why don't she like him, he said he don't know.
That's not what I'm asking. Did you ever ask him, why are you, the two of you, always fussing?
No, I never did ask that.
Okay, well that's
but
good.
When, he's not the type of person, when they're fussing, he's goofing around. She's the one that's just snapping and cursing.
But didn't you want to know?
Yeah, I did. I asked her. I did ask her.
Oh, you only believed her side?
And she said he was two-faced.
And you didn't even want to get his side.
I should have asked him. You right. Always would fuss. They always was fussing. I don't know the reason, because before that.
Did you ever ask her?
I asked her. She said because he's two-faced.
No, him.
No, I asked. He don't know.
He doesn't know he was fussing?
No, he don't.
Plaintiff Alexandria Austin was best friends with the defendant until she became suspicious of the defendant's relationship with her child's father.
Go ahead.
Anyways, as time went by, they always would argue and stuff like that. Come like November, December, I wanted to get my own place. I have 2 kids, and Alana wanted to get a place too, but she was like not financial stable during that time, whatever. So I said, well, let's get a place, whatever. I'll do a year lease with somebody, and like with like the apartment complex, and you could do like a 6-month lease with me. So she said that was okay, because she had one job at the time. I had one job and I was going to school. Okay,
6-month lease?
Yes, I had a year lease. She had just a 6 months lease with me. I have the paper right here.
Give me that, please. Okay. All right.
Okay, so we made an agreement that she'll stay with me for 6 months from January.
How much?
$400. Her part was $400.
Okay.
Okay, it was from January 2011 to June 2011.
All right, let me hear from her now with some background before we get into the specifics of your lawsuit for rent.
Okay, Judge Mathis, me and Alex, we were really good friends, before she even met her child's, father, we were friends. But after she met him, she just started acting funny. I don't know if she was in love. I guess she was in love.
Finish, man.
I guess she was in love. I didn't understand why, because the person that I knew that she was in love with, I always saw him out in the clubs, drinking and getting numbers and giving people his numbers. And I've always heard, things about him. And I would go back and I would take it to her and tell her, this is what I've heard about him.
What would she say?
I'm gonna ask him about it, and I'm gonna see what he said. So basically,
she lying.
She asked him and never believed what I said.
Did you tell her that more than once?
I have.
Why?
I've told her stuff on numerous occasions.
I'll give you a little advice. If you tell a woman something about her man and she doesn't act on it, don't tell her anymore.
I know now.
And I did act on it. So she's sitting here lying. I did act on it.
She's gonna choose her man. She's gonna choose her man over you every time.
But that's not a friend, though, right, Judge Mathis? That's not a friend.
Yes, it is. It is a friend to stay out of her and her man's business. If you've gotten into it once and she didn't act on it, that means she wants you out of her business. And so that is a friend, to stay out of her and her man's business.
But it's not because when, you know, something happens and she having like an altercation with a girl, one of the girls that he messes with, she always wants me to be there as a friend and help her out, jump on her side.
when you hang around, okay, no, you hang around these girls and
Once again, stay out of it.
Okay, I said I know now.
Stay out of it then too. You got me?
I got you.
Just like you stay out of it when you see him doing his thing. Stay out of it when she calls you and say, let's go jump on my man's girl. Say, no, that's between you and your man. I told you once about your man, what I observed, and that's all I'm doing. I'm not going to tell you anything else. I'm staying out of it. Perhaps I shouldn't have told you that, but as a friend, I thought perhaps I should tell you at least so you can have some idea of what you're dealing with. Now,
I did, and she didn't care stuff.
Then she come talk, let's go jump on my man's girl. Is it not?
I never said that.
Oh, but then I'm not her friend when I tell her no. I'm not going to do that. I'm not her friend. What kind of friend am I?
Hold on, because you be ready to jump.
So what? She say you be ready.
She'll amp you up like that. That's how she is. She'll boost you up and ready to fight.
So why were you and him fussing so frequently?
Okay, because she would go back and tell him that, you know, I was the one coming back to her with this information. So he started making up rumors about me, and I started hearing stuff that he was saying about me. So we didn't like each other after that.
Well, that makes sense. If you were going back telling her, certainly, as I said, they're going to choose the man over you. And so, as you see, she didn't even ask him.
Exactly.
She didn't even ask him why he's fussing with her roommate all the time.
It's me.
Correct.
Her stuff on numerous
Give you a
occasions.
little advice. If you tell a woman something about her man and she doesn't act on it, don't tell her anymore.
I know now.
And I did act on it. So she's sitting here lying, I did act on it.
She's going to choose her man. She's going to choose her man over you every time.
Plaintiff Alexandria Austin was best friends with the defendant until she became suspicious of the defendant's relationship with her child's father.
What else you want me to know about the background? Yes, ma'am.
That was basically it. We don't get along because of that. You know, he said stuff about me. I've said stuff about him, and I don't like his company. I don't like to be around him. And, you know, when we moved in together, he was there too much. I felt like he was living there, basically.
Before we get to that, was the agreement you would pay $400 a month from January through June?
Yes.
All right, let me hear your side about how she breached it.
Okay, can I just say this one thing? He's not just a man, he's my child's father. So him being there, he's gonna be there.
He's a loser.
He's a loser, but he paid when you wasn't paying.
He's a loser, exactly.
No, you were a loser because you wasn't paying. You paid $400. You gave me $800. I ain't gonna lie, you gave me $100, but then
I wasn't living there, so why would I pay you?
We had an agreement. You left because of him.
Exactly.
You left because of him. You left because of him. So that's I'm sorry.
Sounds like to me you should have took her advice. You wouldn't be in all this yelling about your man.
But my thing is, when the utilities and everything, he paid that.
Tell me what she did.
Okay, so like I said, it was just an arguing. They used to argue a lot.
Talking about the rent.
Okay, the rent and how the rent came up is they would argue. And
no, she was to pay $400 a month.
Yeah, she was to pay $400.
What months did she miss?
February, March, April, May, and June.
All right, so she only paid one.
Yeah, she only paid for January, and she paid a deposit.
Then she moved?
She left that I didn't know nothing about.
She moved?
Yeah, well,
okay.
She moved.
And do you remember the date?
It was like the end of January. It was like January 23rd, 24th.
Did she give you notice?
No, no notice at all.
All right. Ma'am?
I didn't give her notice, Judge Mathis, because, like I said, he was basically living there. He was there every night, spending the night. He was bringing bags of clothes in there with him, eating up the food. Mind you, I was supposed to provide the food for the house. So he's eating up the food that, you know, I put in the house. She's telling me that he's giving her money for the light bill and things like that.
You mentioned it to her then.
Exactly.
You all had that discussion.
No, we did not. Don't even sit here and lie.
Judge Mathis, I didn't feel like I had to discuss anything with her. She didn't ask me if he could come live there. Okay, being company is fine. Coming and leaving, that's fine.
Quiet, ma'am.
If he had
what did you tell her when you were moving, ma'am?
Because I felt like
What did you tell her?
I didn't tell her anything.
Oh, you just abandoned the premises?
I left.
Oh, that's called abandoning. You abandoned your lease, ma'am.
Because of
You should have told her. You should have said, look, Your boyfriend is staying here every night, or your child, the father of your child is here every night. He has his clothes here. I don't think it's fair for me to pay half of the rent. Perhaps it should be split 3 ways. And if she would have said, no, not doing that, then you could have legitimately said, well, that wasn't our agreement. So I'm telling you now that I'm moving out because you have broken our agreement. You know, your failure to handle it in that manner is going to
Because I felt like she already had a roommate to replace
tell
me.
her.
How you had different guys over there? I'm not gonna say you had a lot of guys. You got a lot of guy friends.
Ma'am, that's enough. You had a duty to get a roommate. Where is he at? Sport coat there now?
Where's my child's father?
Yeah.
He's home.
With you?
He comes there. He don't live with me. He comes there. I had to get a second job.
How often does he come?
A lot. I have his son.
Does he spend the night?
Sometimes.
All right. You say often, a lot, and he spends the night.
Lives
All
there,
right.
exactly.
Yeah, you're right. That's called getting a replacement roommate. I'll give you 1 month, and that is for her failure to give you notice. $400 for the judgment. Tell the roommate, baby daddy, that he owes the rest because he's been the new roommate since he started doing what? Coming over all the time, spending the night all the time. That's called roommate. Have a good day. $400 for the plan.
I don't appreciate that. We could have settled this better. You know, you owe me the money, whatever. No love lost or nothing like that. But
Yeah, I felt the same, but like I said, he moved in there. You knew he
How
moved
did he
in
move?
there.
That's my child's
You should have
father.
talked to me about it
That's my
before
child's
that
father.
happened, but that doesn't matter.
that's my
that
child's
has nothing
father.
to do with the fact that he
you
moved
never
in
gave
there.
me.
If
You
wanted
never
to
gave me a
live with him,
notice.
You should have got.
You never gave me. I had to get a second job and everything. Like I said, there's no love lost. There's no beef. I don't have no problem with her.
I mean, I don't have any problem with her either. You know, it's done with, so that's just how it's going to be.